It's Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services. We are in Verona, New York at the convention of the Independent Bankers Association of New York State, and we have a chance to visit with one of the distinguished visitors at the event, and that is Derek B. Williams, who is the chairman-elect of the national organization, the Independent Community Bankers Association. He is also with Century Bank and Trust in Milledgeville, Georgia. Derek, good to see you. What's been your impression of visiting at the conference?
Great so far. I love one of the joys of this job, the ICBA part of my job, is going around to the various states and doing these conventions and speaking to these community bankers. And what I always find out is no matter where we are, I mean, granted today we're a long way away from Georgia, they're great people. They're just wonderful bankers, good people, and I met some fantastic folks here, some of the vendors. So going to these different places, you get a feel for a lot of different culture, a lot of different philosophies on certain things. But when it all comes down, we're just all community bankers who love doing our jobs and taking care of our communities. So it's been great so far.
Very good. And tell us a little bit about the work of the Independent Community Bankers Association, a strong presence in Washington, and also working with community bankers across the country.
Yeah, our Independent Community Bankers of America is a fantastic organization. It is the only trade association for banks that focuses only on the specific needs of community banks, which is small banks that serve in the community, local banks who take local deposits and make local loans. I've been affiliated with that group for, about 15 years now, and it's a great base for community bankers to have support in Washington, D.C., with not only on Capitol Hill, but with the regulators and with all the other parties that are involved in setting the rules and the standards for the things that we do. So bankers from across the country can gather together in various events and talk about how things are going in their individual states. But we know that in Washington, D.C., we have one voice, and that is the voice of community banks. We have our voice is represented exceptionally well by the folks who take care of us up there.
And one of the things we've been talking to bankers in New York was how they worked through the pandemic, helping their communities, and especially the effort to issue the paycheck protection loans and other key programs that helped their communities and customers through the pandemic. What did you see about the effort of community banks to serve their communities during the pandemic?
It was admirable and it was courageous. Community banks are nimble. That's what makes us different. We had the ability to step up and get these paycheck protection programs out there before the big banks really kind of could figure out how their systems were going to handle it. We were able to take care of our customers, get the money in the hands of the people who needed it, and the flexibility and the nimbleness, again, of community banking is what made that possible. So I'm very pleased. When you look at the numbers, community banks did the vast majority of the PPP loans, even though we represent less than half the share of banking assets in our country. We're actively involved with helping our small business community, and it's the basis of who we are.
Absolutely, and we're talking with Derek B. Williams, the chairman-elect of the ICBA. If you would tell us a little bit about your career and your bank down in Milledgeville, Georgia, Century Bank and Trust.
Yeah, I've been a community banker for about 35 years, all of it in the state of Georgia. And for the last few years, I've been president and CEO of Century Bank in Milledgeville. We will fortunately celebrate next year in 2023, 125 years of chartered service as a community bank in Milledgeville. It's a great town, kind of centered around a large Georgia Power recreational lake, and a couple of great institutions, university and a junior college. Just it's a wonderful place to live and a great place to support from a community standpoint. And my wife and I live there. Our three daughters are all within reasonable distance, and we love our bank and love our community.
And maybe just a final thought as you travel the country talking to community bank groups and think about your year next year when you'll lead the national organization.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's a challenge. I'm learning there's a lot more to it than I anticipated. But the key for me is going to be doing what I've done as in leadership roles that I've had with our state association and some of the other things throughout the years. I think the role of the chairman is to support the staff in doing the job that they do, and we have a great staff in Washington, Sauk Center, and all over the country with ICBA who do a wonderful job. Some very smart people. But my job is really to encourage and to walk and to get around the country and talk to these bankers and remind them that what we do every day as community bankers is important, and it's very necessary, and it's an important part of our nation's economy because we do support small businesses and the consumer with our relationship model a lot more effectively. So as long as I can keep everybody encouraged and remind them to get up every day very proud of what they do and to advocate on behalf of this job that we have and to keep it around, I think I'll have done my job.
Well, that's great. Great to have you visit here in upstate New York in Verona at the convention of the Independent Bankers Association of New York. Great to meet you, and look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you, Ken. It was a wonderful convention. The folks in New York have been great, so thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you. And this is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services.